From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to the Blind Android Users Podcast. Today is March 23rd, 2024, and we will be recording episode 172. I'm John Dyer, and today I will be joined by Karine Kuan and Warren Carr. Today we have first an Android Basics section where Warren will be showing you, if you're brave enough, how to install Android Developer Preview 2, and we'll be talking about some of the new features in it. After that, we'll be talking about some news. There's some big news concerning Apple, believe it or not, and Samsung. And then after that, Ed, although he's not here with us today, has done a demonstration of Google Gemini for App of the Week. And Warren will follow all that up with a tip of the week. Karine, how's your week been?
Everything is going well here. It was a rainy week, which is good. And things are going well. What about you? Were there dinosaurs this week?
There's always dinosaurs around here if you count toys. But no, it's just been a pretty laid-back week. I've been getting my new computer set up and listing my old computer on eBay. I kind of side graded. I'm not going to call it an upgrade, but I switched from a Galaxy Book to a Microsoft Surface laptop, and that's what I'm using right now. So I'm kind of excited about that. Warren, what about you? How has your week been? Are you still jet lagged, or are you getting back to normal?
Thanks, John. Well, actually, you know what? The last couple nights, that's Thursday night into Friday, and today or Friday into Saturday, are the very first two nights that actually I slept until 5. I slept until 5 yesterday morning, and today I slept until 6:32. So my jet lag is wearing off, and I'm so excited to notice that thing is finally beginning to give me a break. So I'm happy about that. Other than that, you know, everything is going on well. Just like Karine, we have some rain going on. It's raining out there like crazy right now. I woke up hearing that rain. We had a little bit of rain yesterday too. And temperatures still, though, kind of a little bit on the upper side, like in the 50s. So it's a very interesting morning. And here I am sitting here talking to you guys.
All right. It's actually raining pretty good here too, so it's raining for all of us, I guess.
We could probably call it a rainy episode or something to that effect. Yeah.
This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
And now we move on to Android Basics. Warren is going to talk about Android 15 Developer Preview 2.
As we focus on the Android 15 Developer Preview 2, I thought that it would be nice to talk about some of the prerequisites you need in order to get your device enrolled into the Android 15 Developer Preview. By the way, I think that next month, though, it will be opened up as a beta so that if you didn't want to use a Developer Preview, you could jump on the beta if that's what you want. So some of the prerequisites that we're talking about here is that first, you want to go into the system settings and then go down to where it talks about phone. I am in my system settings now, and I'll move to that area to show you what I'm talking about. So you go to about phone.
About phone, Pixel 7 Pro, 18 of 19.
Then you tap here.
About phone, navigate up, button.
Once you tap on the About phone, what you need to do, though, is scroll all the way down to the last item at the very bottom.
To 26.
And that would be the build number. Here, you're going to tap on that build number 7 times to enable developer mode.
Build number, AP31.2402.
I tap.
You are now 4 steps away from being a developer. Setting.
So as I kept tapping, it says I'm now 4 steps away from becoming a developer. You have to keep doing that 7 times, and once you're a developer, it's going to ask for your PIN. In other words, once you tap up to 7 times, then on the 7th tap, it's going to ask for your PIN and all of that. And then you've enabled that developer mode. Then the next thing you want to do is to back out of this area and go back and tap on system from within the system settings. And in there, toward the bottom, you're going to find the one that says developer mode. Tap on that, and then we need to enable a couple things here. The first thing we want to enable is the first one that says enable OEM unlocking. You want to check that, and it's going to ask you to confirm that. It may ask for your PIN, ask for your fingerprint, and all of that. And the second one is to enable the debugging mode. That's the ADB debugging. Those are the 2 things you need to enable. Once you enable those 2, then you are good to go. Now, if you want to download and install the factory images, you could download that and sideload those things manually. But if you're a lazy man like me, you probably want to take the lazy man's way out. Then the best thing to do is simply hook up your device to your phone, navigate to the Android developer page, which we have the URL in our show notes, and in there you follow the instructions on how to go about flashing it to your device. I do want to mention here, though, that you may get a message saying that you need to download the drivers. If you haven't done so, then you need to download those USB drivers. If, on the other hand, you have already done so before, you've been plugging in your phone to your phone and been able to access it and all of that, then you are good to go. And when you go to select or choose to flash it, it may tell you that it's not seeing your device. I encountered that when I was doing it on Thursday when this developer 2 dropped. And in that case, you need to tap on add manually. There you will see the device and see the build for your device and then get started. Now, everything is going to be automatic. You just click and just follow the prompts and all of that. Now, I do also want to mention that when it restarts at some point, it's going to be saying that you need to enable unlocking. Even though we've enabled unlocking earlier on, it still wants you to do that. And therefore, the device is placed now in the recovery mode. You want to hit the up volume just once. At that point, hit the power and just wait, and then it comes back and you'll hear the reconnection sound indicating that it's now been connected, and then it'll proceed from there. Let it download the files, sometimes like 2-point-something gigs, all depends on what it is. And then when you're done, then it's going to ask you to relock the bootloader. In other words, it's going to put you in the recovery mode again, and you up that volume key once, hit the power key, and it locks your device. And at this point, you can unplug it, and your phone will come up and takes you to the setup screen. Now, let's talk about some of the things that have changed that I would like to talk about, especially those that are of importance to us. There's not much in the way of accessibility that's new. It's just the same old. The TalkBack version or Android accessibility suite that comes with it is 14.1. Now, let's talk about some of the obvious things that are worth mentioning here, and these are the following. The first one I want to talk about is the ability to archive an app in the event that you are not using an app and you want to archive it so it's not taking space on your phone. You could go ahead and do that. This is not the same thing as pausing an app. This is basically archiving an app. I am on my home screen now, and I'll just navigate to one of the apps, and I'll show you how you go about archiving that app and how you go about restoring that app back to functionality.
Home screen 2 of 5.
So here I am on home screen 2 of 5. I'm going to put my finger down at random, find an app, and we're going to choose to archive that app.
The voice for Android.
Here's an app here that says the voice for Android, and I could just long press it and tap on app info, for example.
Shortcuts. App info.
We hear shortcuts, and the first thing we heard is app info. Let's go ahead and tap here.
App info. Navigate up button.
I am now in the app info of the voice for Android. And so here we're going to see a couple, or actually 3 items. It used to be that near the top you find the uninstall and force stop and things like that. We have a new item that's been added here, and that's the first one on the left, and that one simply says archive. Here's what I'm talking about.
Archive button.
You have archive button, and to the right of that,
Uninstall button.
there's the uninstall, and to the right of that,
Force stop button.
we've got the force stop. Now, I'm going to archive it, that is tap on the one that says archive.
Archive button.
I'll tap,
Archive the voice for Android settings.
and it's been archived. Now, if I put my finger back down, we're going to find where it says restore.
Restore button.
That archive has turned into restore. Now, if I close out of here and go back to my home screen too, where we found that app icon, for example, let's go ahead and close out of here.
Home. The voice for Android downloading 0% complete.
And we hear the voice for Android downloading 0%. Now, at this point, though, if you want to re-enable it, you can go back into the app's info and tap on restore, like we saw earlier. Or I think if you tap here, for example, on it as well, it will start to download it and make it normal again. So that's the archiving feature that has been introduced in Android 15 DP2. The next item I'd like to talk about has to do with audio sharing, and that's found in the system settings and under connected devices, for example. Let's once again navigate our way to the system settings, and I'll pull down notification and then pull it down again. And this time I'm going to tap on open settings.
Open settings. Settings. Profile.
Now we are in the system settings, and what I'm looking for here is a second item that says connected devices.
Connected devices. Bluetooth. Pairing. 2 of 19.
We have connected devices. We tap here.
Connected devices. Navigate up. Button. Out of list. Showing items 2
And
to 10.
in here, we have a new brand kit in here called audio sharing. This is something similar to what Samsung has gone on. I think that's called Auracast in Samsung. Here, though, is called audio sharing. Here's what I'm talking about.
Audio sharing. Heading. 2 of 10.
We have the audio sharing heading, and below that is where you can tap on it and interact on how you go about audio sharing. Let's go ahead and move our finger down and tap on audio sharing.
Audio sharing. 3 of 10.
We tap.
Audio sharing. Navigate up. Button. Out of list.
We are now on the page of the audio sharing, and here's some of the information and some of the items that we have on this page. Putting my finger down, here's what we got.
Audio sharing.
Move down.
Share audio. Switch off.
You have the switch to share audio, and it's switched off. If you move your finger down,
let others listen to your media along with you using their own compatible headphones. 1 of 3. In list. 3 items.
So in other words, if you have a headset that has the capability or the feature of audio sharing, you could share music to such people, and they don't need to have to necessarily pair it to your phone, but you should be able to share it with them. Next item.
Play a test sound. Everyone listening should hear it. 2 of 3.
And here we have the play a test sound, and because I don't have any headsets connected to it, I'm not going to test this to see what it sounds like. And the next item below that will be
Stream settings. Heading. 3 of 3.
We have a heading that says Stream Settings, and below that we're supposed to see some of the settings that are associated with that, but since this is not quite live yet, that settings is not there. That's the feature that we have here as a second feature. The next thing I want to talk about has to do with hooking up your device to your computer. In other words, when you want to transfer files from the computer to your phone or from your phone to your computer, we are all familiar with how that method is, that is hooking up your computer to the device, and then simply pull down the notification, tap on an item that says Android system charging this device, and under the heading use Android or use connection for and you're going to choose that transfer file. Well, something very important has changed. In other words, when you hook it up to your computer though, and you tap on file transfer or whatever item you tap on, it's going to require that you authenticate that either with your fingerprint or with the PIN that you have for your phone. Here's what I'm talking about. I'm going to hook up my computer, or rather my phone, to my computer, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about, show you what I'm talking about.
Charging started, battery level 85%.
We heard it say charging started 85%. Now I'll pull down my notification.
Notification shade.
And I'm going to find that item that says Android system charging this device.
Charging this device via USB, collapsed.
We hear charging this device via USB. I tap.
USB preferences, collapsed. Navigate up.
And we're
button.
now under the USB preferences. Here's where you can choose what you want to do. For example, if I want to transfer files and all of that from the computer to the phone or from the phone to the computer, under the heading that says Use USB 4,
Use USB 4, heading 5 of 13.
we hear Use USB 4, and below that we got
Radio button, not selected. File transfer, Android Auto, 6 of 13.
So if I want to transfer my files, I tap here.
Touch the fingerprint sensor. Verify it's you. Tap to cancel authentication. Button.
And now we have a brand new key on the block, and that says authenticate. Either use your fingerprint or PIN to unlock the device. And that's how that system works. Once you authenticate, then you can now interact with it.
The voice for Android.
I think this is very helpful because if someone has access to your phone and plugs it in, they could go ahead and copy stuff from your phone and things like that. And someone like Ed, the one I refer to as the horse thief, might just copy some of my glitzy pictures in there, So I think that this is a very nice implementation. I can't believe we've been around for this long without this feature. I really like that feature. The next thing I want to talk about has to do with the Bluetooth utility, how it is that in the past, when you want to connect something to it, for example, you have to open that Bluetooth utility, or if you want to remove something from that, it has changed to where all you need to do is tap on it and it's just going to show a drop down of things that are connected. And if you want to remove it, just remove it. I don't have anything connected to mine yet, so I cannot demonstrate that. But that's a nice handy feature that we now have. And now, before I hand it over to the podcast crew, there's one last thing I want to talk about, and that has to do with screen recording. For example, if I want to record, say, my screen, for example, and I go to record a screen, or even I go to cast my screen, for example, it's going to ask which app I want to use in casting. In other words, which app I would like to record. So in other words, if I'm recording an app, say
Notepad,
for example, what that means is that it's going to record exclusively whatever I'm doing on that Notepad. And if I get a notification at the top of my screen while I'm doing that, that notification is not going to show up in my recording. In the other words, that makes it for privacy. So if I get like a nice message from someone, or maybe I got a message from my banking app or whatever, it's not going to show up in that recording that I'm doing. So that's a very good feature that Google has also brought us. And if you have the March feature of the Google feature drop, and if you have Android 14 or whatever version of Android that has that capability of accessing that March feature, that feature is also there in that Android 14. And now I'll hand you over to the podcast crew and talk about things that we like, things we don't like. Here's the podcast crew.
Thanks for that, Warren. So have you been running this on your Pixel 8 Pro? I'm going to guess you haven't, but let's see what your answer is.
Well, so I have it actually on my Android, my Pixel 7 Pro, because I wasn't sure if I wanted it on my Pixel 8 Pro. But now that I saw that it's running smoothly, though, I'm probably going to put it on my Pixel 8 Pro because I want to see what some of the other features, especially when it comes to either messaging. We've had lots of messaging updates coming through the Play Store and all of that. And part of the experience of the DP2 is the satellite messaging. Although some of these features are not actually alive and all of that, but I want to see that, we'll go down to one of the dead spots here in Eastern Washington and see if I could be able to send some messages or something like that. But I haven't put it on my Pixel 8 Pro yet. It's on my Pixel 7 Pro, and I like what I'm seeing. And talking about that, John, another thing, though, that I forgot to mention in here when I was demonstrating the new feature whereupon if you hook up your device to your computer, it's going to require authentication, especially if you say, hey, I want to switch from charging to maybe file transfer or whatever other choice you make. That can be circumvented if you turn on the developer mode. And so that's, if one has it going, you better not turn on that developer mode, because if you have that developer mode turned on, then when you plug it in, it'll just behave the way that it used to. So I'm sure this is something that Google is going to be fixing in the upcoming updates.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm glad they added it, but it doesn't seem to be a security flaw necessarily. I mean, the person still has to be in your phone unlocked and have developer mode turned on to plug in, then connect it to a device. So I wouldn't be surprised if they left it like that, because developers are connecting it to their computers a lot and they might not want to have to authenticate. But I do definitely understand why they're adding it, and like you mentioned in the recording, it's about time, because if you give somebody your phone for some reason to let them use it or something, they shouldn't just be able to plug it into something and start copying files, So it's good that they've added it.
Exactly. I can't believe that we've been all these years and it never crossed someone's mind, say, hey, this is not right, because someone can grab my phone and voila, they can go ahead and just, grab all the files that they want, grab my pictures. The horse thieves like Ed maybe grabbing my pictures or whatever. So I'm glad to see that, feature coming through, because it's important that, it's all about security. And that's one of the focuses that Google really going after in this build of Android 15. So I'm looking forward to, these things maturing, and then we become used to these things, because I know some people are going to say, hey, it's something inconvenient, but I don't see it as too much of an inconvenience, because all it requires is your fingerprint or your PIN, whatever that you've chosen. So I like the feature.
Yeah, and speaking of security, you also did mentioned screen recording. I read that they're also implementing the option for developers to block their apps from even being recorded if they want to choose to, like if it's a banking app or something, and they just don't want the phone to be able to record a screen recording of that app. That's going to be something that developers can opt into now. And I hope it still works for audio recording. Like, I hope you could still record, for demonstration purposes and get the audio that way. If you want to get the audio, it's just the picture won't show up. So I'm hoping it'll just show like a blank screen in those apps that don't let you record in the recording. Obviously, while you're recording, you'll still see the app, or it'll still be displayed. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to be implemented, or when we try to record an app, what's going to happen.
Yeah, but John, internal audio recording is optional. It was like that from the start. So if you don't want your app to be recorded, the audio of the app, the app developer can stop this. So I think that already the apps that they don't want their audio to be recorded, they are already able to block this.
Yeah, but now they're able to block screen recordings also. So I wonder if an app chooses to block screen recordings, if you'll still be able to record, like if it will stop your recording, or if it will just not show up in the recording, is what I'm curious about.
So you mean that if also audio recording will be included by default in this or not, right?
Yeah, kind of. Because like when we're doing a demonstration, and especially in your case, when you're recording, because you use CSR and you can set it to use media, and then you can record that way. Like if you go into an app that doesn't allow screen recording, while you're screen recording, what's going to happen? Is it going to stop your screen recording, or is it going to just record a blank screen and still let you get the audio? That's what I'm curious about. Because right now, how it works, like, so if you're on the lock screen and you're doing a screen recording, the lock screen, it doesn't show the lock screen, I guess, because you're putting it in a pin or something like that. But it will still let you screen record, and it'll just show a black screen during that part of the recording. So I'm hoping that's how this is implemented.
Yeah, but if you just unlock this, if you just lock the screen, the screen recording will stop. Can you turn it on from the lock screen?
Certain apps, like if you're using a third-party screen recording app, it'll keep you can set it to keep recording when you turn the screen off.
Oh, okay, I was talking about the default Samsung recorder, which directly stop the recording whenever you turn off the screen.
So when I decided to record those preambles or my tip of the week, and that's when I first noticed that. And that's not even on Android 15 DP2, but like I indicated, this is something that came with the March feature of the Pixel drop. And so when I went to record my demonstration of Google Docs, I realized that it was asking me to pick an app. And of course, I'm doing this via the Reflector 4 and choosing the screencasting feature from my phone. And it asked me to choose which app to use. So I went and chose Google Docs. Now, when I went to record the preamble for the Android 15 DP2, however, there was no such option. So I'm like, oh, so what do I do? So I chose Gmail, and then after I chose Gmail, then I just closed out of Gmail, and then it shows my screen, and I was able to do what I wanted to do. So it's a very interesting thing, but I think the whole idea that I like is that, if you're recording an app, a given app, for example, and then some notification comes in that you don't want someone to see, it's not going to show up in there. So I like the implementation. It's a good feature.
Anything new in TalkBack?
There was nothing new. I know that mine came with Android TalkBack 14.1 out of the experience. So I don't think there was anything new. It may be, my guess is that we'll see something new if one joins the beta. There may be a new TalkBack that comes with it. Because you remember last year it was like that. We had the same TalkBack until, was it either the third beta or was it the second beta that we saw a new TalkBack? So I wasn't expecting that there was going to be anything new with accessibility, especially when it comes to TalkBack, but I'm anticipating that we'll see something new in the beta. Maybe beta 1 or beta 2, or maybe even beta 3. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, they are preparing for something groundbreaking. For this reason, they are taking their time.
Just like they did last year. It's ground shaking, make my coffee in the morning. I love that feature.
This time, it will just do you a recipe. Just you say, what do you want to do? And it will do it.
Pizza, pizza, pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite food. If you're going to make me something, make me that pizza, because I don't think I can do it on my own. I mean, my wife knows how to do it, but not me. So let my phone do it.
I will join TalkBack back then, and I will be leaving CSR.
I think you would. And I'll be giving you a welcome back home party when you do.
You're listening to the Blind Android Users podcast.
This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
Moving on now to our news and events section, and today we're going to be discussing a couple things, but we'll start with the DOJ Apple situation here in the US. Warren, do you want to let the listeners know what's going on with that?
Well, so this is not like we're kind of like beating up on Apple by any stretch of imagination. Well, it's just the Department of Justice here in the United States that kind of say, hey, Apple is being monopolistic in some of these areas, and they kind of lay out their case. And one of those things, of course, has to do with iMessaging. And frankly, to be honest, Apple is just trying to make money. Let's be honest here. Apple is trying to make money, which they're very good at doing. They know how to sell their stuff and all of that, and people buy it. And so if Apple goes out and says dirt is good for you, people are going to buy it anyway. So, and so Apple is in hot water because of that and some other things as well. But frankly, like John and I were talking earlier, I'm a little bit indifferent about it. I don't care whether Apple brings iMessaging to Android or not, because in my thought is that, someone who likes the Apple product, they're not going to go jump on Android because now Apple has opened up iMessaging to Android. And it's like me, I'm looking at myself. I love my Pixel devices, and let's say Pixel brings the guided frames to, say, Motorola or to Nokia or some other brands like that or whatever. I'm not going to jump onto those just because Google has brought that guided frames to those other devices. So I don't know that this is going to be anything that would hurt Apple's sales, so to speak. So I think Apple, if I were Apple, I should have just allowed this thing from the get-go, because as they indicated earlier, they were actually going to introduce it to Android as far back as 2013, but they, of course, they didn't want to do it. Of course, they want to keep people in their ecosystem. But I think that was a wrong move because, look at Microsoft, John. What happens to Microsoft back in the 1990s, that big lawsuit about Internet Explorer? We saw what that did. And John, you want to talk about some of the things that we got as a result of that busting Microsoft opening up?
Like you, generally, I'm kind of in favor of just the government staying out of it and just letting businesses do their thing. But at the same time, I think it needs to be consistent, because back in the 90s when they went after Microsoft, the result of that was, Microsoft was making it very difficult for people to run things on their operating system. And, that includes stuff like QuickTime and iTunes, which are obviously owned by Apple. And, back in the 90s, if they hadn't done that and Microsoft made it difficult for you to use iTunes on a PC, only Mac users would be able to have purchased iPods and used them. And, that's basically how Apple got its start. So I think Apple is the company they are today because of these sort of regulations. So I think although I kind of I'm of the opinion, just stay out of it. At the same time, they are where they are because of these regulations, and it's only fitting that they now that they're the big boy in the room, they're the ones who are being gone after. And that Microsoft thing took 10 years to really play out, and this might take as long. I don't think, if I had to guess, I'd say it won't even go to trial for probably 3 years at least. But I think Apple has already, they've already said they're going to start doing RCS this year. which regions, I don't know. But, now that they know there's going to be a trial, I think Apple might just kind of relinquish some of the control they've had over stuff like not letting the game streaming services be in the App Store, and there's a couple of other things like preventing third-party watches from working on their OS. These sort of things, they might start to let up, and I think by the time this goes to trial, it's not gonna be as big of a deal, and hopefully, it will lead to changes. It's just a matter of how long will these changes take and how stubborn will Apple be.
It's interesting you mentioned the watch situation, because that's also part of it, though, of the lawsuit that Apple has going against it. And in reality, because you can try to pair an Apple Watch with your Android, but the problem is that you are not going to be able to respond to notifications. Say you got a messaging notification, you cannot reply to it and things like that. So frankly, if they open up this, I think it will actually be a win-win situation for Apple, because now you're going to find people say, I'm going to buy an Apple Watch, and since it works with my Android phone and they're well-built watches, it's actually going to be for their own good. So I don't know why they're not even seeing this as a good thing for them coming down the road. So if we get these things going on, I think it's going to be a very good thing to see what happens. And one should be able to use whatever device they want and marrying it to another device and just, so to speak, and just use it. So that's how it should be. And frankly, they did this to Microsoft, and no one is indispensable here. They can do it to anyone as well. So Apple, I know, of course, they put up a statement saying, hey, we're going to fight this because it's going to destroy our whole premise. We are security focused, privacy focused. How does that destroy that privacy? I have no clue. Come on. Let's just call a spade a spade. But like I said, I frankly don't care, because I don't think I'm even going to be using iMessaging, even if it comes on. I'm good with my RCS. So it's not going to take anything away from Apple. I think Apple is just putting themselves into places they shouldn't be. Just open up the stuff and call it good, and no one's going to bother them.
Well, for me, I'm like John, that the government shouldn't intervene so much in those things. However, in this situation, and when we are talking about big companies, those companies that are able to have all of this authority and all of this impact, I think that governments should intervene, because if they don't intervene, this will cause more trouble, actually. And well, to be fair with Apple, they were able to create this. Okay, it's a closed ecosystem, whatever you want to call it. But they were able to create this seamless integration between their devices. They were able to make something that is really working well. So I think this should be said first of all. But actually, this helped them to like when you are using an Apple product, you are hooked to the Apple ecosystem in a way or another. So you should also go for another Apple products, and so you'll find yourself at the end of the day unable to go for any other product, just because you are already hooked to this closed system. However, it's working well, but you are hooked to the system. And another problem is that Apple is using this to undermine the ability of small developers, because this is a big system, and a lot of users are using Apple. A lot of users are using Apple products. So if Apple is able to put its conditions as it like, and if it's able to make things as it wants to, it will be doing things as it likes, because it wants to be also always the preferred part in the competition. It will not just say, okay, I will open this for other services. And I'm also creating a similar service, because this will not be something that Apple will like to do, because it's a big company and it's searching for profit at the end of the day. And when it knows all of the abilities and capabilities that's able to make in this controlled system, so it will just say, okay, I'm not going to open this unless you just go according to my conditions. And this is what was done to music, to streaming services, to gaming services. So I think, yeah, there should be something, and this lawsuit should continue, and it should make a real difference, because at the end of the day, this shouldn't continue like that.
I hear what you're saying, Karen, most especially with other little startups and things like that. Because what that does is that it crashes competition, and the whole idea has to revolve around, competition and all of that. We give everybody a fair playing ground so that they could showcase what they have. But when you have these other big companies monopolizing the whole thing, it doesn't do any justice or any good to the little guy that's trying to, do something and getting crushed. I think so. I can see that viewpoint as well. So, frankly, just like I keep going back to Microsoft. This one good browser, it was the Netscape. And Netscape got taken out, by Internet Explorer and all of that. So, frankly, we should be able to have other players in this technological marvel, so to speak, so that give everybody their fair shake at whatever it is that they're trying to present to the people, but not getting pushed out by the big boys in the room. I think it's fair to kind of let everybody have a little bit of a piece of the pie.
Yeah, but talking about Microsoft, I don't know if you have seen the article. I will send the link to the group if I find it. I don't remember if it was on XDA. I think it was on XDA. Actually, they were talking about the things that Microsoft is trying to do to let people not use Google Chrome. So yeah, it
Oh
is
yeah,
not, yeah, it's not going
yeah.
against the law. Okay, we are going legal, but just when you open the page to download Google Chrome in Edge, because first of all, you don't have anything other than Edge. So you want to open Edge to download Google Chrome. It will just tell you that Edge is a very, like, it's a very secure, good something, and it will be something like taking a big part of the screen. And other people were reporting also that after doing updates, some tabs that were already opened in Google Chrome were hijacked by the Edge browser, and they found themselves opening those tabs in the Edge browser. So yeah, also Microsoft is trying still to do some stuff to take people away of other browsers.
Yeah, Microsoft still does that in a way. They want you to use their Microsoft Edge as your browser. And of course, the browser wars will continue to be with us. But frankly, at least, they try to make it difficult for you to switch. So that's, especially if you're running Windows 11, it's more pronounced in Windows 11. It's not as bad on Windows 10 and lower, but Windows 11, they kind of being very aggressive, like you said. They really want you to stay with that Microsoft Edge and not wanting you to switch to, Chrome or some other browser. So, frankly, but at least it's there. You can still say, hey, no, I've told you I don't want it. I want to do this. There are things I like about the Microsoft Edge, and certain things I like about it. I use them on my phone, now and then, but frankly, I don't use it on my computer much. I just use my Chrome on my computer.
Yeah, but it can't be compared to Internet Explorer. I think it's something much better. So yeah, we should be saying things like, we should be saying, yeah, they did good job, but they shouldn't force us to use it.
Exactly. Let the user choose what he or she wants. That's the whole thing. The whole thing revolves or boils down to choice, and give people that ability to choose what they want. And I think that's what life is all about. We choose what we want.
The other thing we're going to be talking about today is something coming from Samsung. People have spotted seamless updates in the wild on a Samsung phone, more specifically the A55. Karine, do you want to tell us what's going on here?
Yeah, finally, people were starting to find that when they were updating their A55, the new A55, the seamless updating is happening, which Pixel users know about very well, and Samsung was reluctant to do for many years until now. So a big part of the update will be done during before restarting the phone, and you will be able to keep using it. And then it will restart when it needs to, I think when it does the last things, the final things related to optimization and stuff. So yeah, and well, there are still speculations about other phones, what will be the case, what will happen. Until now, the only device that was spotted having this feature is the A55 device, and I think it's a good move from Samsung. At the end of the day, they should um, implement this. Well, is it going to be a better experience? We should just wait and see. But yeah, it's a good move, I think.
So you and Warren agree here. You like these seamless updates, huh?
Look, if I get the A55, which is something that I'm thinking about, I will tell you.
Well, frankly, I think because Samsung has been the big boy. This thing has been since what, Nougat, Android 7, and of course, like I've always said, and Samsung's the big boy in the house, and they can, throw their weight around and they say, hey, we don't want to do it or want to do it. And Google couldn't force Samsung to do it. I don't know what happened to Samsung that they finally decided it's time to do this. And my thing is this going to be retroed? For example, you have the S24 or S23, or even going back down to S22. Would this thing be retroed to those devices so that they could also have that seamless updates, or is this something that we'll see from now on with newer devices that come from Samsung? So flagship like the S25 that would be coming out next year. Is that how we're going to see it, and all of the other A devices that Samsung will be pushing out from now on? I'm kind of interested in knowing how that's all going to pan out.
Yeah, so am I. If I had to guess, and I could be wrong, I feel like this has to be implemented out of the box just because of the partitions that already have to be in place on the device to be able to install. Basically, what it's doing is it's installing the new version of the operating system on a different partition, so that when you reboot, it just boots into that other partition, and then the partition you were using is going to be used to write the next version of the operating system. So it just flips back and forth. So I think the architecture, if you want to call it that, of how these devices are set up, I feel like, and again, I could be wrong, I feel like that's something that's hard to implement in an update. So I think it's going to have to be this way out of the box. So my guess would be that, going forward, whether it's flagship or not, because obviously with the A series, they've done it. Any device that Samsung releases, so I guess their next devices are going to be, their next high-profile devices are going to be the foldables. I would guess that those foldables would have these seamless updates, and I don't think these other devices, again, could be wrong, will get them that are already released.
Well, so I'm looking at this as just software doing the magic here. So, and I'm looking at GSI, generic system images, for example. You can load it on a device that doesn't have whatever, and when it reboots, then it goes away. So I think if they can do that, I think they can also manipulate the software to be able to temporarily create a folder to download these things and then apply it when it restarts. So, but like we said, all this is just speculative, and we really don't know until Samsung comes out and tells us whether this thing was enabled from the get-go before the update, or this is software that they just created that comes with the updates. We'll see what happens. John, you have your S24. We'll see if you get something in April, and if it makes any change, or if I get
to Android 15 and I still am doing it the old way of updating, I am not buying an S25. I'm gonna keep my S24 so I can keep getting fast updates. No, obviously I'm kidding. I'm not ever gonna not buy the new phone, but I just love being able to update my phone in like less than 5 minutes. Like download, restart, install, everything happens in less than 5 minutes, and that's not going to be the case with these quote unquote seamless updates. I mean, they're seamless if you're not a what do they call people who go into updates and check for updates? There's like a name for it. Can you think of what they call them? Seekers. Yeah, seekers. They I'm a seeker. If I was one of those people that never checks for updates and I just get that notification, an update is ready to install, reboot your phone now, that is the perfect implementation of these seamless updates, because the person doesn't even realize it's happening, and then all they have to do is restart their phone, and 1 minute later they're up and running. But if you're less than a minute later, they're up and running. But if you're the person who goes in there, says check for updates, watches it download, stares at it while it installs, like, you're not going to be a fan of these.
Yeah, but in reality, the whole idea of this seamless update is that you don't know that anything is going on in the background. It's just like you say seekers like you and I that are, can't wait for the thing, or else in reality, many times that I've not checked, I've just seen, notification, your device, has this, and just tap to restart and boom, that's it. So that's the whole idea. It's not intended that, oh, I want to check it now and watch it, but we're impatient people. That's what it is. But
I'm
if
not
you're being
arguing that it's
impatient,
not better for most people. It is better
yeah,
for most people.
if
but
you're
I
being
don't like it.
impatient, then you can still be doing what you're working on. That's the beauty. And Samsung doesn't have that. If you have Samsung and you're being impatient and you go check it and you want to do your stuff, you're not going to be able to do your stuff. And that's the problem. And so that's why the seamless update is a better implementation.
And that's your opinion.
Of course, it'll always be my opinion. And the opinion of many people that I'm reading about. They say, oh yeah, finally Samsung's come to where it needs to be. Because like I said, the most people wouldn't be mashing on check for that update.
I don't doubt I'm in the minority here, but it doesn't bother me that I have to wait 2 minutes for my update to install.
Well, I'm with Warren here because okay, I know that I will be the person who will be just checking everything and who will be just waiting for the installation to happen, and this will make my phone use close to nothing because I will just be checking to see the percentage and stuff. But like overall, it's a good thing. Sometimes you need really to have your phone working as much as possible or as long as possible. I mean, like if you are in a situation where you want it to be available. Okay, so I remember once before this seamless update, it was just in the next days. I was in the car going to the university, and I needed my phone actually to be working. But the update was downloading, but I'm not the person who will be able to postpone the update. I can't do it because I can't do it. I will be so curious to hit the install. So I was waiting for the update, and I was in need of the phone. I was thinking, am I going to finish the update before really I reach the university, or what will happen? What would happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think in this situation, this could be helpful. But back then, there wasn't something called seamless updates. Actually, it was like taking maybe 10 minutes to do the update, or 15 minutes or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, though, it's nice to see what's going on. I know there's nothing that you're going to do that everyone is going to be happy with. There's some people that, like John, that are not going to be happy with this. And yet, others are going to say, yay, finally, we're where we need
it's
to be.
like as big a deal as I'm making of it, it's really not, it's not the end of the world. I know it's going to make the experience better for most people. So I'm not going to complain too much about it, but I don't like it.
It's okay. You'll get used to it. It's just like one of those things, we didn't like when they implement, but now it's the norm, right? New normal.
Yeah, hopefully like the S24 series, if it gets these, or if not, the S25 series are going to be so fast that it's not going to bother me like it does on the Pixel. Because I swear, even with my Pixel 8, it's like sometimes it takes more than a half an hour to install the update, and it's just too long for me. Even if I can use my phone. See, I never look for updates or install updates if I know I'm going to be using my phone. I just like, oh, I'm going to go update my phone now because I'm not doing anything for the next 5 minutes. Like, that's my mindset. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me though, I know that update is there. I'm going to mash and check on that update, but yet I'm still using my phone. So I'm not staring at the screen of the update. When it's ready, it lets me know, hey, restart your phone. So I don't experience that wait. And, with the new implementation, frankly, mine has not taken 30 minutes. I think the most I've seen is maybe like 13 point something minutes. I don't know what's going on at your end, John, but anyway, different experiences. I don't know. Mine downloads really quick.
Pixels always seem to work better for you than everyone else.
Exactly. I'm the evangelist, and it seems like Google kind of knows that and kind of tailors things to my liking. But frankly, I have never, since that implementation, I've never had any of my devices taking 30 minutes. Before, that thing is maybe like an hour, even more than an hour. If you're looking at it, and it could be very annoying. It's like 10%, and it's sitting there for a long time. 11%. It was very annoying. And so for me, I never look at that screen. I'm just busy doing what I'm doing. So I like that seamless update. You are now onto our App of the Week segment. This is where we demonstrate an app, showing you whether or not it has accessibility issues or not. Should you have an app that you would like us to feature on one of our episodes, feel free to send such an app to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. And now, here's this episode's App of the Week.
Moving on to our next segment, App of the Week. Ed will demonstrate Gemini.
Hello everyone, in this App of the Week demonstration I'm going to show you the new Gemini app from Google, which is Google's artificial intelligence assistant based on the work they did with Google Bard. You may be familiar with some of the other services in this area like OpenAI's ChatGPT, which has started to be integrated into some of the blindness specific apps for things like scene description, giving you more pertinent information about a scanned document, etc. What I will say is, one, that Google Gemini is in the fairly early stages of its development, and two, all apps in this area are developing very quickly indeed. So you may well find that things have moved on or are very different when you come to try these apps, particularly if you found this demonstration a long time after I recorded it. I'm recording in mid-March 2024, just to give you a frame of reference. Currently, Gemini app is limited in availability. The US Play Store, along with sites like APK Mirror, are some of the places you can get it. It hasn't by any means rolled out to many Play Stores yet. So if it's not on your Play Store, that's why. You'll either need to sign up for a US Play Store account or go to a site like APK Mirror to pick it up, or obviously ask someone to send it to you on an email list, or someone you know who might have it. When you come to use Gemini on your phone, you will need to opt into it, replacing Google Assistant on your phone, which may sound fine, except that at time of recording, Gemini is much more limited than Google Assistant in terms of the tasks it can perform for you. So it can't, for instance, play music on Spotify yet, as the Assistant can. So if some of those Assistant features are important to you, you might want to hold off having Gemini act as your assistant. The problem is, though, that if you don't, you can't then use Gemini as an app on that device. You would have to use it via the website, either on your phone's browser, on your computer's browser, or have it act as the assistant on a phone perhaps that you're less bothered about. It is phone specific rather than account specific. You're not replacing the assistant on all your devices, just on the device you've chosen to put Gemini on. Let's go and have a look then. I'll open up Gemini.
Gemini. Google. Signed in as Edward Green. Good morning.
Okay, so you heard it start to tell me where we were signed in. That button is in the top right, as you would expect in Google Apps. It's where you'd find it, for instance, on the Play Store. And the Gemini screen, when you open it, if it's first use, it will ask you to agree to the various terms of service, to have it replace the assistants that I've said. It'll tell you some things it can do to give you some hints to get started. And then you will have the screen that I'm on now. As I say, you have the button that shows you where you're signed in the top right, which lets you access settings. We'll go there in a minute. Towards the top of the screen, you have things that Gemini thinks you might want to ask it about. Towards the middle of the screen, you'll have your history with Gemini, showing you some of the most recent things you asked it. And then towards the bottom, you have an edit box where you can type. Below that, there are 3 buttons. There is a send button, which will be disabled if you haven't written anything. There'll be an image picker button in the middle that lets you share a photo with Gemini, and then towards the bottom left, there is a microphone button. So let's just have a quick look at those buttons.
Send button disabled.
Yeah, and then towards the middle,
image picker button,
and then
microphone button.
The image picker and the microphone buttons are very close together, so just watch that. I'll go to settings first, I think. Let's have a look at that in the top right.
Signed in as Edward Green. Account and settings. Close button.
I've double tapped that button to bring up the menu, and I'm going to locate settings.
Settings 1 of 3. Google page Gemini settings out of list. Back button. Your public links. Control how you share chats and responses. 1 of 5. And list 5 items.
I'm not going to go into there. I don't particularly have any interest in sharing my chats or responses, but you can go and that will have things like link visibility in it if you want to check that out.
Languages for speaking to Gemini. 2 of 5.
Languages for speaking to Gemini. This is worth a look, particularly as I know we have many listeners whose first language is not English. I would show you what that supports, except for the fact that the TTS I use, Eloquence, does not support the reading of non-Latin scripts. So if it discovers a Cyrillic letter, a Chinese letter, an Arabic letter, a Japanese letter, you're not going to hear anything at all. It's not even going to attempt to make a guess in its Android implementation. So we would get a lot of silence if I showed you that, accepting the fact that the Latin script-based languages would read. But if you have text-to-speech for the language that you use, or indeed a text-to-speech that's using English but would make an effort to voice those non-Latin characters, you can go and have a look at that.
Quick phrases. Skip saying "Hey Google" for help with specific tasks. Powered by Google Assistant. 3 of 5.
That can be helpful. So instead of saying your Google wake word and then telling it what you want to do for certain customized things, you can shortcut all of that with a quick phrase. That's really assistant functionality rather than Gemini functionality, though. So I'm not going to have a look at that.
Screen context. Allow Gemini to capture information on your screen. 4 of 5.
That can be quite helpful because if you're looking at a website, say, and it sees that, then it can put its responses into context.
Gemini uses location to give you more relevant responses. To control if your device's location can be used, go to location settings for the Google app. 5 of 5. So
we could do that. Whether you want Gemini and other Google products to have access to your location is, I think, up to you. So that's all there is in settings. So I'll back out of that.
Back button. Page 2 of 3. Image picker button. Window Google. What's on your mind? Edit box.
So there's the edit box just above that middle image picker. So 3/4, 4/5 of the way down my screen, something like that. I'm gonna tap on this and ask it a question.
What's on your mind? Type, talk, or share a photo. Screen away mode.
I'll ask Gemini how you make a spaghetti bolognese, and I'll close the keyboard.
Bolognese. How do you make a spaghetti bolognese? Edit box. Type, talk, or share a photo. Keyboard hidden. Send button.
And because I closed the keyboard, the send button is in the bottom right. If I'd sent it directly from a keyboard, the send button would be above where the P would be on the virtual QWERTY keyboard. So I'll double as it is in most apps. So I'll double tap send.
How do you make a chat avatar icon? Page 2 of 3.
Now Gemini can be a little bit slow.
Page. How do you make a spaghetti bolognese?
Slower than Google Assistant. Now the response, because you still have a fairly cluttered screen now, it will have various buttons that allow you to share the response, but the response itself is likely to be in the middle of your screen towards the right. So I'm going to touch there and see if we can find it.
Page. How do you make a spaghetti bolognese? Ground beef or a mix of ground beef and pork. Add tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato puree or passata, red wine, optional, beef broth, herbs, bay leaves, thyme, and seasonings, salt, pepper, sugar, to the pot. Simmer for at least 30 minutes, or up to several hours for a richer flavor. Cook spaghetti according to package instructions. Serve the bolognese sauce over the cooked spaghetti and enjoy. Thumbs up button.
Well, that seemed pretty accurate to me. Now let's ask it about pulling people's cheeks. Is it okay to pull other people's cheeks?
Page 2 of 3.
Let's see if it's come up with a response.
Generally, it's not okay to pull other people's cheeks without their permission. It can be surprising and uncomfortable, especially for adults or people you don't know well. 1 of 2. Enlist 2 items. Here's a good rule of thumb. Only touch someone in a way you'd be happy with someone touching you. If you're unsure, it's always best to ask first. 2 of 2. Thumbs up button out of list.
So we can thumbs up it?
Thumbs down button.
I might thumbs down it. I don't agree, obviously, as regular listeners to the podcast will know.
Google it button. Share options button.
I could share it.
Copy button.
Copy it.
Actions options button.
Let's see what our actions options are.
Pop-up window. Export the docs and list. Export the Gmail. Create public link. Modify response. Other drafts. Report legal issue.
One of the things that Gemini says it is good at when you first use it is writing papers or business plans or emails. So that export to docs and export to Gmail option for more serious uses of Gemini may well be things you want to explore. Well, that's a fairly brief introduction to Google Gemini.
Thanks for that demonstration, Ed, even though you're not here. Warren, you have a nickname for this Gemini, don't you?
I thought we should call it the Jimmy Boy or Jimmy Guy, or whatever. But see, frankly, so here's my disappointment, though. I mean, I like it, yet the assistant is more functional in more instances. For example, the one thing I don't like, and I don't know why Google didn't open that up. Ed didn't talk about this in his demo, but when it shows that result, there's a little icon there below the top right corner that says chat play or whatever. You tap on that, it'll read that with the voice, assistant voice or whatever. Why didn't they just open that up like the assistant so that once it gets the result, it just verbalizes the result in as much as it's also showing it on the screen? I don't like that because I don't need to. The whole idea for me when I use the assistant is to be hands-free. You know what I mean? I could have it in my pocket, John, or I have my Bluetooth headset on, for example, and the thing is in my pocket, and I want to hear those results, you know, whether through the speaker of the phone or want to hear it on my headset. I don't need to touch my screen to hear what the result is. And why Google choose not to allow us hear the result verbalized is something I'm not happy about.
Warren, I want just to say that the first response is played back. So when you ask assistant something, you will hear the first response, and then, at least in my experience, for me, then when you say like ask another thing, you tap the microphone to ask another thing, it will not play the response. You should just touch the screen to read, or you should play press the play button.
Are you talking about the assistant or talking about Jimmy Boy?
Yeah, the assistant part of this created in a hurry Gemini.
Yeah, so in my experience, I had never, the only time that it will verbalize something for me is, for example, is if I ask it common things like, weather, or, turn off the lights, or, turn on the lights. But if I were in the, if I say, if I ask it something, it just displays the information and doesn't play it back. If I want to hear the playback, I have to tap on that, chat playback icon.
The difference between us is that I don't use the "Hey Google" word. I just open the assistant with the gesture, which is actually like when people long press the home button, and I use the Joshua gesture to open the assistant. But I don't know if this should make a difference. But yeah, I don't use the detection word.
Yeah. So if you're coming from a situation where like other people that just look at the printed or the text response and not worry about the verbalization, then this is not going to bother you. But for someone like me that, I have the device in my pocket and I just want to hear, I don't want to interact with the phone. Frankly, I don't like what Jimmy Boy is doing.
I think it's safe to say that none of us have this installed on our phone because in order to have it even working, you have to let it take over Google Assistant. And like you mentioned, Warren, Google Assistant kind of breaks in some ways. I use Google Assistant for different things. Like I'll just say to it, search for, Galaxy S24 on Amazon, and it'll open the Amazon app having already done that specific search. Gemini does not do that sort of thing. And there's all kinds of other stuff that I've realized that I'm very dependent on that Gemini just can't do. So it's, and even having it installed and set up on your device kind of makes it take over Google Assistant. If you go set Google Assistant back to the default assistant, then the Gemini app stops working. So, I have it saved to my home screen as a web app, so I can use the web version of Gemini, but I don't have Gemini actually installed on my phone. And I'm assuming you guys don't either. Is that correct?
No, I do have it. It's my default now. I've had it, for a while, ever since it came through. It's my default, and frankly, I don't like it, but I'm using it anyway. I'm getting used to it, how it works.
Okay.
But I just
It's
wish,
slower
there's
too,
that
isn't it?
playback there.
It's slower than Google Assistant, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's very slow, no
Yeah.
question. Absolutely very slow. And so when you look at the assistant and you look at that, then it may be something that is not going to be pushing you to use Jimmy Boy, Gemini, because the response is slow. You can watch it in action. Actually, you watch those lines going through as it's, printing out, so to speak, the response and all of that. So it's very slow, and sometimes it kind of frustrates me. But of course, like we said earlier on somewhere else, it's one of those things that we have to get used to. And I'm thinking, though, it's just the initial thing. I'm sure Google knows of these shortcomings, and they may optimize it or make it work better, because the whole thing is, the thing is supposed to be, on the web, but now they're miniaturizing it to where we can use it on our phones. And right now, as we indicated, it's only on the Pixel phones. No wonder why that is. So we'll see what happens from here on if the Gemini Nano gets to other devices.
So I have Gemini installed on my phone since it became available. Of course, from APK Mirror, because I can't install it from the Play Store. And actually, what I see about this Gemini thing is that it is an app that was created in a hurry. They created this just to respond to the competition. They didn't take the necessary time to make it like a good experience. They just wanted to say, hey, Microsoft is using the GPT thing. We are going to use this Gemini. Microsoft is creating Copilot. We are going to create Gemini. So this what Google had done, and I think this what made the experience bad experience. I can say it's just whenever you open this app, you feel that it's not something that was taking the appropriate, the right time to be like baked, to be developed, to be made for the public. So I think they should work on the UI, and you shouldn't forget the problem that we were having with the accessibility when this app was released. It was for maybe 2 weeks or maybe more. The send button wasn't focusable with TalkBack. We Jisho users, we were able to circumvent this problem using a special thing in Jisho itself, but it was a problem that shouldn't be happening from the first, actually. So yeah, and another thing is related to the assistant. I thought that it was optional and they were making it optional, but now you're telling me, and I heard from other people, that currently you can't make it other than the default assistant, or you will not be able to use it. So if it's really lacking many features, why you should force people to have it as the assistant? It's something I can't actually, I can't grasp. It's something I don't know what they are trying to do, because yeah, like many of the important features, like in addition to what John had indicated and to what you have said, Warren, like the read aloud feature, which was something nice in when you were able to read articles in Chrome. It's not available, and
Exactly.
many other features. So why to force people to use this assistant thing? I mean, just take your time and create something that is really useful, instead of
Yeah.
making this and yeah, and appearing like, okay, you are not you're just responding to the competition, nothing else. And actually Gemini itself is also having issues. Like if you try to ask it something, I said, hey, compare my A71 to the recently released A55, and look what it said. It said that A71 is much better in most aspects, and it was giving many false
Oh
information
my
about
gosh.
the
This
the
phone that is 4
A55.
years older than this phone is much better.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. Google likes to have some good relations with me, some good relations with me, it seems, or something.
Well, it could be that. Well, what processor is the A71 running? You remember, Karen?
Yeah, it's the Snapdragon 730.
And the A55 is running. Is it an Exynos
The
chip?
new Exynos, yeah,
Like,
2480.
okay, 2480. Well, you know,
No. They gave so much like wrong
yeah,
information,
exactly.
like okay, Copilot didn't do it right as well, but Copilot was like, if we compare the Copilot to Gemini, it did a better job in this.
Yeah, all these are still a work in progress, and I agree. It does definitely feel half baked. I mean, the good thing is that they're not forcing you to use it. If you
Yeah.
download it, it forces you to use it. But if you don't have it installed on your device, then you can stick with Google Assistant, which is what I'm doing.
And
But I
if you
wonder,
don't like it, then you go change it back.
yeah,
It's just a knucklehead like me that I keep giving it that benefit of a doubt.
do you know if they have image creation back? I know there was that debacle where they stopped letting it create images for
No, they're not letting
political reasons.
creating images is not there. I mean, you can upload your image and all of that, but
Yeah.
another thing I want to
I
say,
used that when it first came out and I liked it, and I've been trying to use it again, but they haven't brought it back yet.
maybe you are creating beautiful pictures that you shouldn't be, John. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, they had this thing where somebody asked it to show the forefathers, the founding fathers of the USA, and it was racially incorrect. It had some black people in there, and this is because they
Oh
have
no.
yeah, so it was incorrect, and it's because they've kind of built it to be like diverse. Like if you ask it to
Yeah.
generate something, it's not going to always do white people. So it's kind of taught to be diverse, and in that situation, they got it wrong, and people threw a big fit about it, and now they've taken it down until they can make it work better. So for whatever it's worth, that's what happened.
frankly, what you are saying makes sense, though, because in an attempt to be politically correct, or to not be offensive or whatever, we wind up with a half-baked something, because you're not getting the true response that you thought that you'll get. I mean, I've asked it, questions. I mean, even Lookout, for example. I may say, hey, is this person in the picture male or female? And or ask something that is maybe gender related, and it will say, I'm not supposed to do that, or something to that effect. Come on, man.
Mhm.
Are we helping ourselves by doing this or not? That's the question. Frankly, yeah, I mean, some people will say, yeah, we should be this way or that way. But if you're blind and you want that detail and you're not getting it, I think we're getting cheated. The sighted person can see it and knows exactly what it is. But if we're being, politically correct, then the blind person is getting shafted here, in my, of course, never to be humble opinion.
Yeah.
First, you should tell your friends in Lookout to let the service be available in other parts of the world, and then we will look at the description accuracy.
I thought that Lookout was out everywhere, isn't it? No? Oh, no,
The image
not everywhere.
description, this new detailed image description is not there. No, it is just in US, and
Oh,
I don't know, maybe a few other countries. Nothing else.
yeah.
Here we have
Maybe
the
like 12,
very
12
basic
other countries.
description.
Yeah, yeah. And so another thing I wanted to mention, though, about the button that has the microphone and the image, they are one bar. So think of it like your volume key. One tip of it is the microphone, and one tip of it is the image picker. So that's what's going on. It reminds me of the little seesaw that kids used to have in schools back then. Sit at the other tip, the other one sits at the other tip. You're bouncing up and down. That's how that button is. The only one that's separated by itself is the send button, but the image picker and the microphone are all on that same bar. They sit on the same button, but the microphone is on the left tip, and the image picker is on the right tip.
Is image description working for you? It didn't work. It refused to work.
I didn't even bother to try any image description. Image whatever description. So see, I'm one of those. I'm not big into the image description thing. I know a lot of blind people are. I happen to be one of the outliers that I'm not. Image description, I don't care about. I know it sounds odd, but it's the truth. I'm not into image description. Yet in the same breath, sometimes when I use it or whatever, I like what I hear, details and things like that. But it's not something that I'm crazy about.
I've been using it more and more lately, and I really like it. It's been really helpful for me, but I use Be My Eyes now basically all the time for that sort of thing. So yeah, like you, Warren, I haven't even tried it in Gemini to see what it's like.
Yeah, but guys, you are able to use your site for some for some degree. I think, Warren, if you try to look at the screen using a magnifier or something, you will be able to get some details, right? And John, I think the same. Am I right about
Yeah,
that? So
yeah.
I think this makes a difference. Like a totally blind person will use this more because we receive images, and for us as totally blind people, this image is like nothing more than something that your screen reader say it's just an image. So when you are able to get a service that will just describe this for you, this will make a big difference. Whereas for you, if you really want to know what this image includes, you just can take a look on the screen using a magnifier or something else.
You make sense, Karen. Frankly, like I said, though, this is revolutionary for blind people because it gives you details that you didn't know before, especially if you can't even see the image to even know what color it is, or whatever it is, and some of those details that we take for granted. I am really happy that we have something like that, because it now gives you that detail, and you basically the image just like a sighted person would. So frankly, that is a huge improvement and a huge development. I'm loving it. It's just that maybe, I don't know, I just never been crazy about pictures. I like taking pictures, don't get me wrong. I mean, my phone is full of pictures as we speak. My Pixel 8 Pro with my trip that I made, videos and all of that. I think I'm down to like 300 and something gigs left on my my Pixel 1 TB Pixel 8 Pro, and I'm gonna be backing those things up.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
that's yeah, it's full.
You're gonna
I
be
mean,
paying Google for cloud
yeah,
storage for
exactly.
man.
I mean, and summer's not even here. I mean, of course, we like going hiking, and I like taking pictures and videos and stuff like that. I'll be standing, beside a waterfall. Hey, look at my knucklehead! I'm standing here beside this waterfall and things. I like doing things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I
can see
mentioned
how
in
that
the
is.
intro that I was selling a computer on eBay, and for the first time, I was able to do it by myself because of, Be My Eyes. I took the photos and I shared the photos and asked questions because I can see enough to know, like, okay, this is a picture I took of my laptop, right? But that's really all I could tell. But now I was able to ask questions like, is the picture blurry or clear? Is the entire laptop in the photo? I could ask questions like that and it could tell me. So, even for me who does have a little bit of vision, like, it's game changing even for me, because in the past I've had to, find my wife and say, hey, I took these pictures for eBay. Do they look all right? I'm going to try to sell this thing, So the fact that I was able to do that all on my own is huge, so I can imagine for like completely blind people, it's even more of a game changer.
You're right, John, because remember when you and I were unboxing that Pixel 8 series and we're talking about that guided frame, and I recall vividly that you were talking about being, it will now be a game changer because you'll now be able to take those eBay, images that you want to sell, things and stuff like that. That was one of those things, because I'm glad, you talked about that, and definitely with the Be My Eyes, or seeing AI, giving you that vivid description. Indeed, this is a game changer for us. Those of us that like to sell our own used items on, eBay and other sites like that. It's a very good idea to be able to find those details. I like it.
And actually, Be My Eyes is doing really a great job because they are using the GPT, and GPT is the best, I think, in images description. And like, even the version that is used is not like, it doesn't have all of those limitations that you may find with Copilot or something, or other services, mainly Copilot, because it's the one that I've tried before, or the Bing chat. Previously it was the Bing chat, actually. So this is making Be My AI really the best choice, I think, that is available right now. Other apps are starting to get into this. You will find this in Tech Freedom next version. You will find you start to find this in InVision. They said that they have implemented a new AI model. They didn't say what is it, but actually I didn't test it until now. But yeah, I think that all of those services are starting to catch up. But the best, I think, is still the GPT, which is used by the Be My AI, which is really great.
Indeed, and I think that both Be My Eye or Be My AI and Seeing AI use the same thing, and it's a good idea. I like it because, like I said, it gives you that detail, and it's a game changer for those of us who are blind. Straight ahead is our Tip of the Week segment, and this is where we share a trick or tip on how to take advantage of your Android device. And now for this episode's Tip of the Week, here's your Tip of the Week.
And now we will finish up this episode with the tip of the week, where Warren will show you how to create hyperlinks in Google Docs.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast, and for episode 172 Tip of the Week, this is demonstrating how to go about inserting a hyperlink in your Google Docs document. In other words, how to go about inserting either an email, a phone number, or a web page address. I'm demonstrating this on my Pixel 8 Pro running Android 14 and Android Accessibility Suite 14.x. I am already in the Google Docs app and will now tap on New Document to demonstrate what I'm about doing. Here we go.
New Document menu button.
I tapped on New Document menu, and the next thing we want to do is tap on New Docs File.
New Docs File button. Untitled doc.
New
Showing
Docs
English
File is
US.
what we want. I tapped on there, and it pops up my keyboard. Now I'm going to use my voice dictation here and then do some cleanup, and then we'll do a little bit of how we go about setting those hyperlinks and stuff like that.
Use assistant voice typing.
Hello, if you would like to get hold of blind Android users, then we have 3 options for you through which you can get hold of us, period. First, you can call us on the phone. Second, you could email us. And third, you could go to our webpage, period. Stop.
Voice typing stopped. Use assistant.
I just dictated that, and now I'm going to put my finger down to see if what I dictated actually came through, and then from here we could go about inserting those hyperlinks for both the phone number, the email address, and the web page. Here I go.
Hello, if you would like to get hold of Blind Android.
As you can hear, it read the first line. Now, if I'm simply moving my finger slowly down, then it'll read the next line.
Users. Then we have 3 options for you through
Move my finger down again.
which you can get hold of us. First, you can call us on
Move my finger down.
the phone. Second, you could email us, and third, you could go to our web page.
That's how it works. Now, you could change the granularity to where you could just swipe up and down to maybe line granularity and read it that way, or else you have to do what I'm doing. Now, the next thing we want to do here, though, is to invoke the selection mode. Now, if you do have a gesture that you've assigned to it, you could just invoke that, or universally, you could just invoke the talkback menu and then tap on that actions and then go to selection mode. So let's go through the universal mode in the event that you don't have actions in your talkback version, or you don't have a gesture assigned to launching the actions. So for me though, I'll tap with 3 fingers to activate the talkback menu, and if you're using a legacy mode, then you just draw a line down and curve to the right to activate that talkback menu. I'll now tap with 3 fingers to activate the talkback menu.
Talkback menu. Add label in list. Showing items 1 to 15 of 15.
The first thing we heard is add label, and of course if you move your finger down or if you swipe to the right, you're going to hear actions.
Actions.
Let's go ahead and tap here on actions.
Actions. Select.
We have a lot of things in here. We have things like
Select all.
select all,
Add comment.
add comment,
Add emoji reaction.
next,
Verbalize selection formatting.
verbalize the selection format,
Move cursor to beginning. Move cursor to end.
and
Paste.
more of those. Now, what we want, though, is to go to the one that says start/end selection mode. You can keep swiping till you get to it, or put your finger down, and toward the bottom, you're going to find that start/end selection mode.
Start or end selection mode.
That's what we want. So I'll tap here.
Selection mode on.
We are now in the selection mode. And what I will do now is to make sure, though, that my granularity is set to the word granularity. I'm assuming, though, that since I finished the dictation, my cursor should be at the end of my dictation. So now I'm going to switch to word granularity.
Words.
And so now that I've switched to word granularity, I'll swipe up to select a few words going backward.
Page. Selected.
There's the word page.
Web. Selected.
So I have web page selected. And if this is all I want, I could stop the selection here, but I want to go to the word go.
R. Selected. To. Selected. Go. Selected.
There we go. So I have go to our web page. Now I'm going to end that selection. If you have a gesture for it, just go ahead and invoke that gesture to stop that selection mode or the universal mode by bringing up the talkback menu, tap on actions, and go tap on end selection. Here's what I'm talking about.
Talkback menu. Add label.
And now
Actions.
actions. We tap here on actions.
Actions.
And toward the bottom, we'll find that end selection mode.
End selection mode.
Go ahead and tap.
Selection mode off. No.
Now, near the top, though, there are some buttons, and the button we're looking for here is the button that says Insert. Here's what I'm talking about. It will be like the third or so button going from left to right.
Insert. Button. Pop-up window. Insert palette. Showing.
Upon tapping on that insert, we heard insert palette. Now, that's not what we want. Now, if you're a swiper, all you need to do at this point is swipe once from left to right, and that places you on link. And if you're an explorer, just move your finger down, and there you'll encounter link. Here's what I'm talking about.
Link. 1 of 8. In list. 8 items.
Here is our link. We tap.
Cancel. Go to our web page. Go to our web page. Edit box. Text. Out of list. Showing English.
You can
US.
see now that we have an edit field there, and that edit field is saying go to our web page, but there are actually 2 of them. As you can hear, the active field is the one that says go to our web page, and that's not the one we want. That's the text that we have, but we want to assign a link to that page, or rather to those words, so that when you tap on that, it takes you to the Blind Android Users web page. So below that is an edit field that is not active. We want to activate that, and that's the one that has to do with inserting a link. Here's what I'm talking about.
Link. Edit box.
It has link edit box. That's the label, and I tap here to activate that field.
Link. Edit box. Editing. Out of list.
And now that that link or that field is active, it's then time to type the web page address. I'm going to try to dictate it, and I hope that it comes out, and I'll edit it.
Use assistant voice typing.
blindandroidusers.com. Stop.
Voice typing stopped.
Since it's a link, it should understand that I am inserting a link, and I'm going to put my finger
Use
down to
assistant
check
voice
to make sure that I have the right protocol in there.
Web link. Blind Android users. Home. https://blindandroidusers.com/enlist.
And I could just tap on that.
Editing.
There we go. So I have that in there. The next thing we want to do is near the top right is tap on Save. I'll put my finger now near the top right and tap on Save.
Save. Button. Link inserted. Untitled document. Edit box. Document. Editing.
All right. Now we need to do the one for the email and the phone number areas. So again, I'm going to move to where those areas are.
Lines. Could. Link start. Go to our web page. Link end. Period.
So let's see.
paragraphs, lines, words, could, email, us,
So I have email us. I'm going to start the selection mode and select the words email us.
talkback menu, navigation, actions, actions, start or end selection mode, selection mode on,
And now I swipe up.
space, selected,
I'm going to change the word.
words, us, select, email, selected,
There we go. Now I'm going to end that selection. Tap on talkback menu.
talkback menu,
Actions.
talkback,
Again.
navigation, actions, actions, select
And
all,
end the selection.
copy, end selection mode,
And the selection mode.
selection mode off,
And now we go tap on insert.
insert, button, key,
And again, we want to tap on link.
link, 1 of 8, email us, cancel, email,
There we go. Now I'm going to type in contact us at blindandroidusers.com.
web link,
We tap on that link field.
edit box, editing,
And now
use assistant voice typing,
contact us at blindandroidusers.com. Stop.
voice typing stopped,
And I'll put my finger down to make sure I clean it up.
contact us at blindandroidusers.com, edit box, editing, link, window cancel,
I'm going to change to
characters,
character.
M, O, C, period, S, E, S, U,
See, there's an
U,
R missing.
S, E, S, S,
So I'm going to put R here.
R, R.
Okay.
Contact us at Blind Android, R, E, S, U, D, I, O, R, D, N, A, space, space,
Let's take out the space.
L, delete, space deleted, web link, contact us at Blind D, N, I, L, B, space,
Let's
space,
take out that space.
L, delete, space
And I'm
deleted,
sure it
L,
wrote the word add.
showing, delete, T deleted,
There we go.
showing item 1 of, done, delete, A deleted, L, delete, space deleted, showing
And now I'm going to put the add symbol here.
symbol keyboard, at, us,
There we go. And now near
showing
the top
items
right
1 to
corner again, we tap on save.
save, button, link inserted,
There
showing
we go. Now we'll do the last one, and that will be the phone number for Blind Android Users podcast. And now I'm going to navigate to where it talks about the phone call.
space, words, lines, users. Then we have 3 options for you through which you can get hold of us. First, you can call us on
And now I'm going to switch to the word mode.
words, on,
I'm sitting on the word on now, and so I'm going to invoke that selection mode.
talkback menu, navigation, actions, actions,
And we go to select slash start slash end selection.
start or end selection mode, selection mode on, characters,
There's characters. We could use characters if we want.
S, select, us, U, selected, L, select, LL, AL, select, CA, selected,
So I got call us. Now, of course, what we need to do now at this point is to go ahead again and end that selection mode. Remember, you can use your gesture, but I'm just doing the universal mode just in the event that someone doesn't have all those gestures. So again, we tap on the talkback menu.
talkback menu, actions, actions,
And now go down to End Selection Mode.
End selection mode. Selection mode off.
And now that we've ended the selection mode, next thing we want to do is tap on that insert near the top. It's like the third button from the top right.
Insert button.
Tap here.
Insert button. Keyboard hidden. Pop.
And we have that pop up again. And what we're looking for is move our finger down or swipe right from left to right to link.
Link 1 of 8. In
There we
list
go.
8
We
items. Call us. Edit box.
And now that we are on this link field, what we need to type in here is letters TEL : followed by the number, or rather the phone number in question. So I'm going to put in our phone number. That's the blind Android user's phone number. And so I'll start with TEL :
T E E L L.
And now switch to the symbol.
Symbol keyboard. Open features menu.
And I'll put in the colon.
Colon. Telephone.
And now I'm going to switch to the digit keyboard.
Digit keyboard. Showing digit keyboard.
And I'm going to follow that by putting in our phone number. And our phone number will be 1307, or maybe even no need, but you can put it in there. If you're doing an international one, remember to do the plus and followed by the country code and then the area code and all of that. But since I'm just doing this for here in the US, for example, I'm just going to put 307 and followed by the phone number.
3 0 0 7 7.
I got 307, and now I'm going to put in 202
2 2 0 0 2 2.
I have 202, and now I'm going to type in the last 4 digits of our phone number, and those last 4 digits are 9797.
9 9 7 7 9 9 7 7.
And I'm going to cross-check, put my finger down.
Telephone 3,072,029,797. 2/. Edit box. Editing. Link. Window cancel.
And now I'm going to tap on Save.
Save button. Link inserted. Showing English.
And there we have our links inserted. And now I'm going to put my finger down.
Entering document. Edit box. Document. Editing. Hello. If you would like to get hold of blind Android users, then we have 3 options for you through which you can get hold of us. First, you can link start, call us, link end, on.
And you hear that link start and it says call us and then it says link end. And so you see those links in there. You could tap on those links to activate it, for example, or you could just invoke the actions and see if you could find where it brings up links that you can tap on. And that's how you go about inserting a link, be it an email address, a phone number, or a web page on your Google Docs on your Android phone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for that, Warren.
So Warren, the question is, as a Google fan, do you think that the implementation that Google is using in Google Docs to view documents, if you are editing or editing a document, is a good one?
No, it is very bad. Frankly, I can't believe that we still have this problem. Frankly, it's very bad. Google Docs should be made more accessible than what we currently have. I've been wishing and hoping that this would change. It hasn't changed to where the competition is. You look at other, even simple note-taking apps from other apps. For example, if you dictate something, or even Google Keep, for example, you put your finger down, it will just read the whole thing for you. This one, of course, is not like that. You either have to do what I was doing, or you have to change your granularity to read it line by line or word by word, or you could just select all and just choose to speak the selection. But frankly, no. Google Docs is one of those Google products that Google has not really made very accessible to us. And I'm sorry to say that as an evangelist of Android, but it's the simple truth. Google Docs is still lagging behind, and it should be fixed. This is bad.
This is what I wanted to hear, and you will keep the podcast. No
Well,
removing.
You were testing Warren. You were like, if he defends Google on this, I quit.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
and I'm
I'm
going
being
to listen to
objective.
this part. I'm going to listen to this part.
I'm being objective because, frankly, you look at all of the Google products, and I'm talking about software related products, and frankly, Docs is probably the worst accessible, least accessible in all of the Google products. I mean, yes, there are some that are not very accessible, but Docs of all things should be open up and still keep. I don't know if it's working for you guys. If you go to delete something, you know how it got broken maybe like in the summer of 2023. For me, up to now, when I go to delete a character in Google Keep, it doesn't speak what is being deleted. It doesn't work for you guys. It could be just me at my end. It still has not been fixed.
I don't use it, to be honest.
Let me test it. It was having this problem, but
It still is at my end.
see.
I go to delete something and it doesn't verbalize what I'm deleting. So it it becomes very annoying to me because you're not knowing where to stop the deletion. And so I just use the assistant and just say clear or whatever.
Yeah, it is still the same.
Yeah, it's a shameful thing. So those two, and I don't know whose idea it was that we get this thing, busted and never fix it. The Docs has never been, very good with accessibility, and they're touting, oh, we do this thing for Braille, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but how about the screen reader? Come on.
And also action implementation. They don't use actions across their apps. Yeah, TalkBack just tries to put like actions everywhere, but nothing. All of other Google teams, they don't implement actions. Only Gmail. I don't know why.
There's a little bit of a disconnect somewhere, if I could use that word. Now, God forgive me, but I kind of feel like there's sometimes a disconnect between the teams or whatever. Frankly, we got this thing in TalkBack. Why not try to implement that in these other apps that, Google products as well, all across the board? And so I think that some of these teams probably are not familiar with our TalkBack or our screen reader. I'm sorry to say that, but sometimes it comes across like they are not aware of what's going on. That's all I can say.
There is a disconnect. And even when they implement actions, they don't do it right. For example, in the Google Drive app, if you're on a file, there's one action, and that action is like more options or something. And then doing that action will bring up the menu on screen for download, share, all the things. And it's like, these should just be the actions. Why are you just giving me one action that brings up the menu when all the things in the menu should be the action? So even when they implement it, it's like they don't really understand what they're doing.
Exactly.
Because the one who did it is a person
about.
who doesn't know what's actions actually. What is the actions feature? Yeah, that's really true. They don't follow their own standards.
Yeah. I don't think that they're being, deliberate. I think maybe they are not familiar. And frankly, I don't know what it would take. Maybe it could be, you would think that they will be collaborating with the TalkBack team, and you listen to what the TalkBack team is saying. I don't know, guys. I don't work there. I have no clue. But And all this is speculative, but I mean, we're saying what we're seeing. That's that disconnect. That's the simple truth.
Yeah, but Warren, if I want to contact developer and ask this person who is an individual working on an app to make an accessibility improvement, like implementing actions, but Google itself is not doing this. I think this is a real problem. I don't like Google is a big company. It has teams who are working on apps and on services. So those teams should at least know the basic accessibility standards and the basic accessibility stuff. So I think some things shouldn't happen. Like there are no actions. This shouldn't happen. Releasing an app with a send button which is a basic button in the app, and then waiting for about a week or maybe more to fix this problem. Also, this shouldn't happen. I think there should be something in Google to fix this, so we will be able to convince developers more to work on accessibility and to make inclusive apps.
Maybe this is where AI is going to play an important role here. And I hope that, everybody's chanting AI. Maybe that AI should be able to give us those actions where we need it, so we're not bothering anyone trying to implement this. But like you said, when something grows too big, these are some of the inherent problems that would happen. Rome was burning, and, some didn't know they were busy having a party, so there's a disconnect. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us.
All right, well, that brings us to the end of this episode. And Austin is going to join us from his vacation just to tell us how you can contact us. Austin?
To contact us, you can send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. You can join our mailing list by sending an email to blind Android users plus subscribe at groups.io. You can join our Telegram, Facebook, Discord, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The links for everything will be at the bottom of the show notes, and also in the video description of the YouTube channel. And also the links are in the websites panel of the YouTube channels.
Thank you for that, Vacation Austin. And now it's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody, and thank you again for listening to us. Looking forward to seeing you guys next week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.